on the bus,
Yes.
Soila was talking away and telling me all about the work in the school and the children and so on. And I was sitting beside her in the bus, and I just kept saying, see. And some years later, I told her that I didn't understand a word,
No, what is?
but I just kept saying, see. I was born in Dublin. I lived in Crumlin, and I joined the Christian Brothers, which is an organisation, a congregation of the Catholic Church. So I was a Christian brother for nearly 20 years. The possibility came up then of going, what we'd say, on the missions, to go abroad somewhere. And I was asked, would I go to South America? The last few years were spent in Paraguay, and that's where I met Soila. We were teaching together in a school in Bañado, Tecumbu.
My principal said to me, could you look after the brother who coming from Europe? So I didn't know that he was Irish. So when I saw him and coming walking toward me to the school, I said, oh, he looks so handsome. And I started talking to him all the time in Spanish and in Guaraní, mixing up a little bit. So I got that he had a lot of, the Spanish and the Guaraní.
Well, when I went to Paraguay first, I knew theoretically, I'd read about it, that there was another language and so on. So I knew that there was such a thing as Guaraní, and I knew that it was the indigenous language of Paraguay, but it was a great surprise to me, and I was, I suppose, envious in a sense, because compared to Ireland, here our Irish language hasn't been as sturdy and as resilient as Guaraní.
Where I was born and I used to live, we were very close to the native people, so we always have just the Guarani language. My mother, she doesn't really speak Spanish. She doesn't want to speak Spanish. She can understand it, but she decided not to speak to us or to anybody. Actually, I learned the Spanish language when I started primary school. So for me, I can say that the Guarani language is my first language.
My experience of bilingualism had been here in Ireland with Irish and English. But when I went to Paraguay, I realized really that I should have learned Guarani instead of Spanish. It would have been better for me. I always say when people ask me, do you speak or do you know any Guarani? I always say mishi mi, just a little bit. And we fell in love and got married, and then we came back here to Ireland.
At the beginning, we decided just to teach our children our language, and for me especially, just to teach them my culture. And the only way to do that one is through language.
Originally, when the children were born first, I didn't speak to them in Irish. I spoke to them in English. So they had English and Spanish and Guarani at home. But when we moved to this area where we are now, which is an Irish-speaking area, I said, well, okay, I'll speak Irish to the children from now on.
For us, it's very, very important just to have the experience to have different languages, and we have the region here that we have 4 different languages that you can use as, and that's what we want. I want to give that to my children. I always tell them that they are the mixed population. They are not the full Irish. They are half Paraguayan and half Irish. I think it is very important just to keep our language, tradition, culture, just to give away to the children.
And I think there are a lot of similarities in that both languages are indigenous languages. They were the languages before the colonization by Spain or by England in the case of Ireland. And both languages are still alive. The Irish language in Ireland is alive, but not in the same way as Guarani in Paraguay, in my opinion. Guarani is much more widely spoken in Paraguay.
I would just say to all the young people in Paraguay or here in Ireland, just to keep your own language. That's your identity, and it's beautiful.
One of my favorite songs in Irish is actually an old Irish psalm. It's something from the Bible. So what it is the Lord is my shepherd. There is nothing I shall want. She antir na muire, ni vege ni deir. She antir na muire, ni vege ni deir.